Da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum. What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today we're excited to check out Circus from Winning Move Games. This is for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 plus. It'll take about 15 to 45 minutes to play. And this is the captivating game of circles and stars. In actuality, this is an extremely light abstract game in which you are going to be placing pieces onto a board trying to score points. But is it any good? You probably don't know, so I probably should play it a couple times to tell you. So, let's do that! Alright then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Circus. First and foremost, we have our handy dandy rule booklet. It is one page, double-sided, full color for the pictures, illustrations, examples. It's pretty well done. It'll have you up and running in no time at all. So in Circus, what you're trying to do is you're going to be trying to get to 40 points. So we'll go over the gameplay, we'll go over the components, we'll go over how to score, and then we'll wrap this up. So first and foremost, you might notice that the board is plastic. This is the board. This is really nice. It is thick, sturdy plastic. It's not going to bend or break or anything like that. The score track is actually built into the board, which is really kind of cool. Another nice thing about this is these pieces, when you put them in there, do not move at all. So that's really nice. If you put them in there properly, they kind of click in. So how this is going to work is each player is going to have their corner where they're going to have their pieces. Everybody has the same amount of pieces and identical pieces. And what's going to happen is it's just a follow the leader. That's what they call it. So essentially what's going to happen is the first person, I said essentially again, is going to go right in here somewhere. And they have to make sure they are touching somewhere inside of there when they play. So we'll just say that the purple guy is going to go first. He's going to start like this. And that would be his turn, and we move on to yellow. Now, yellow is going to have to play somewhere where they are touching purple. It can be anywhere they want as long as they are touching purple. So they could potentially play right here because it's touching the very, very edge of purple. But they're actually going to take this piece, and we'll just say they go right there. So they're feeling pretty good because they have a good chunk of this circle built in. They have a good chunk of the circle filled in. Next we would go red, and they say, oh, I want to get on the circle game. So they might play this one right here. Now, why would you do that? Because they have completed the circle. Now, normally, when you complete a circle, you would score 5 points. However, if you have the majority of the circle, or star, you can do it as star, you don't get your bonus because you're going to gain 10 points. So red would just now gain 10 points. And now green would have to go, and they would have to go somewhere that is touching red, so they might decide to go, let's see, does that work? That does not work. Let's see. Sometimes it's a little difficult to figure out which pieces are going to go. There we go. They might go right there. Then purple would go, and then yellow, and red, and green, so on and so forth until someone reached 40 points. Now, there are a couple more exceptions to the game because you can earn a free turn, a play again. So essentially, you can take 2 turns in a row if you can do a couple things. If you place a piece in a space whose adjacent spaces are all filled. So let's just say that eventually we got a piece here, even though that one doesn't fit quite right, and a piece here, that doesn't fit right there. And then somebody placed a piece right in the middle here. If someone was able to do that, they would then get another turn. So they'd get 2 turns in a row. Next, also, the first person to complete the central star, I should say the only person to complete the central star in the middle, that is central, is going to gain another turn. And last but not least, the first person who places what's called a sliver on the outside, which are these tiny little spots out here, is going to get another turn, but only the first person who does that. But anywho, you're going to continue to do that until someone gets to 40 points, at which they will win, or until someone completely runs out of pieces. And that, in a nutshell, is how Circus is played. Alrighty then, Circus from Winning Move Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go to the pros, let's go to the cons. First on the cons side, the game is not going to be for everybody. Hey, I'm one of those people. It's not for me. It's way, way, way too light. This is an extremely light game. You can teach it in about a minute to a minute and a half, which in some games is not a bad thing. However, in this game, it is kind of a bad thing. Also, it's extremely repetitive and tedious. You do the same thing over and over and over and over again. You have minimal choices. You can play here, 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 or here, and you can play any one of your pieces, and hooray, you scored some points, or hey, you didn't score some points, and now it's the other person's turn, and you just do that over and over and over again. Also, it's a very restricted player count. It's 2 to 4 players. It's abstract. And I say abstract games sometimes. This is the definition of abstract. There is zero theme. I don't even try to slap on a theme onto this game, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because people hate fake themes, but at the same time, I would rather have a fake theme, I think, than no theme at all. Not quite sure on that one. Any other cons I have with the game? The main con I have with this game, and the main reason why I'm going to get rid of this game, is not because it's a bad game, which I'll mention in the pros. This is not a bad game, but this is just, I think, a game that I don't ever want anyone to pick. I have hundreds of games, and if someone ever came in and like, man, I really want to play this game, I'd be like, God dang, really? You want to play that game? I wouldn't actually say that, but I would be thinking that. Of course, I would play it with them because they came over here and want to play games. I would acquiesce that. But this is just the kind of game I don't want to have on my shelf because I don't ever want anyone to pick it. But moving on to the pros, the game is not a bad game. It's just way too light for me. But we're talking about pros here. So what is good about the game? First and foremost, it is incredibly simple to learn. It is incredibly simple to teach. It's not going to scare off anyone. If you set this out on a coffee table or something like that, if you don't have children, grandmas can play this, anybody can play this, and they're not going to be intimidated by the rules, because it literally is follow the leader pretty much and try and fill in circles and stars. Also, component-wise, the components are absolutely top-notch. These components are fantastic. These little pieces, top-notch. The scoring system they have built into the board, kind of ingenious. The board itself is really ingenious, how it works, how everything is just one big piece, and you can essentially, you don't even need the box if you just leave the thing out. I like that an awful lot. Also, the pieces lock in there nice and tight. And it's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just not a game for me, because I don't want people to play it at my house. So overall, I think if you're a hardcore gamer, or if you have other abstract games you enjoy, this is probably one you're going to want to pass on. But if you don't, this is not a bad game. So that is Circus from Winning Move Games, a game that, not my cup of tea, but definitely not a bad game. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below and in the comments below. Let me know what is the worst thing I could do if I came into your house that's legal, of course. Obviously, I could come in and, we're not going to go into the details of what I could do. I could do terrible, illegal things, but what's the worst thing I could do if I walked into your house and walked out completely doing nothing legal? For me personally, I think the worst thing you could do that would bug me the most was just turning on the TV. If you just turned on the TV while my son was there, oh, worse yet, if you turned on the TV to watch a soccer game, that could be the worst thing. Because, God, I hate soccer, and I just, yeah. That's for me, though. But personally, what is your worst thing that someone could do if they walked into your house? As always, thanks for your time, YouTube. There's enough room for a dead rat, a dead mouse to be in there. So, could happen. Probably has never happened, but it could. Just something to think about.